Welcome to the Ultimate Town Hall 9 Upgrade Guide. We're going to go over the best upgrade priority for your buildings, your troops, your heroes, and your hero equipment. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you guys some war bases to use. Let's jump in. So this is going to be your highest priority stuff right here. Just like every Town Hall level, you're going to want to focus on your offensive stuff first. So your most important things are going to be like your laboratory so that you can start upgrading your troops right away, your clan castle. Of course, you can get your army camps upgraded to get bigger armies, upgrade your blacksmith, your barracks, your dark barracks, spell factory, dark spell factory, get all that stuff so that you can start beefing up your Town Hall 9 level army as quickly as possible. And then, of course, with your dark elixir, you want to start upgrading your barbarian king. The first thing you should do with Dark Elixir is unlock your Archer Queen, of course, and then get them both up to level 30 as quickly as you can. That's going to help you out tremendously, not only in your war attacks, but also in your farming as well. And I do also have these in order on the base, in the order which you should do them, in my opinion, to be the most helpful. Of course, the laboratory and the clan castle being the first couple of things for regular elixir, because that's going to give you the extra 5 troops in your clan castle, and obviously you want to be able to upgrade your troops. And then the army camp's going to be the next most important thing, because it's going to make your army bigger. And then of course you're eventually going to want to unlock these troops that unlock when you upgrade your barracks. I don't put them as high of a priority because you do want to get your army camps before you unlock the new troops, just because it's going to the camps are going to make your army immediately stronger, whereas the barracks, you unlock the troops, then you have to level them up, and it's a little bit of a drag. And then of course getting the blacksmith done, I would do that before the barracks, just so that you can upgrade your equipments. And then of course the last piece of your offense for regular elixir, you want to get your spell factories done, get those new spells unlocked. And then say with the heroes, unlock your queen first, and then just start working on leveling up your heroes to 30. I try to keep my heroes within 5 levels of each other, so I would get the queen up to like 15 or whatever if your king's at 15 from the previous level, and then level your queen up to 20, and then bring your king up to 20, and so on and so forth. I like to do it in increments of 5. I know a lot of people like to take their archer queen way up above the king, but it's actually much more beneficial to keep them closer in level because they're both really strong. Now we'll come back to offense a little bit later when we talk about the laboratory, but let's go ahead and talk about some of the defenses. Now for this one, I split the defenses into 2 sections. We got the regular defenses here, and then we got the traps over here. And it really doesn't matter which one you actually start with. If you want to start with your traps while you're working on your offense, because of course, you can do both at the same time as long as you have builders available. That way you can get your traps maxed out before you get started on some of these bigger defenses. Or if you just want to get your bigger defenses going right away, that way they help defend your base in war or defend your loot, and then that's going to be the better way to go. Some people don't like to upgrade their heavy defenses early because it increases your war weight and it can make you match up to higher weight people, but that's not as big of a factor as it used to be in the game, and honestly I wouldn't even worry about it at all. If I'm going to do my defenses, I like to do the heavy ones first. That way I have a better chance of actually getting defenses. So I'd like to start with the expos. Obviously, you could set them to air and ground. It's going to help defend against witches. It's going to help defend against dragons. And then speaking of dragons, the next thing I would do are going to be these air defenses. Otherwise, Town Hall 9 level dragons are going to be rolling right through your base. Teslas are a nice one to get done nice and early, just because people can't see that you have maxed out Teslas, and it's not as obvious right away. People might underestimate your base a little bit if you got those maxed out Teslas hiding. They do a lot of damage. After that, wizard towers to help counter the witches, help counter the hog riders, and they can help counter balloons too if anybody's hitting you with a Lalo. And then there's a lot of air attacks at Town Hall 9, so you do want to get the sweepers done as well. And then speaking of anti-air stuff, get the archer towers done before the cannons. I would even get the bomb tower done because, again, that's going to help defend really well against hog riders and witches. You're going to see a lot more witches than you are hog riders, to be fair, but the bomb tower is really good against both. And then finally, I would finish up with the cannons and then the mortars down there on the bottom side of the base. Those are going to be very low priority. And if you're going to do the rest of your defenses before you do traps, I would even suggest working on so I would stop at the cannons, work on the traps and get all those done, and then come back to the mortars and finish those dead last, just because they do add a lot more weight than some of the other defenses in terms of war weight. I know I said it really doesn't matter, but it is something to kind of keep in mind a little bit, and you don't really need it. The mortars aren't going to help you out tremendously, so save them for last, get the traps done. And then the order for the traps: the Skelly Trap's going to be your best friend, as well as the Seeking Airmine, trying to get rid of those pesky dragons. and you can set your skelly traps to air or ground, or have one of each. Next up, we got the spring trap. For obvious reasons, the spring trap is really strong. And after that, we do have giant bombs, again trying to get rid of witches and hall grinders. And then finally, we're gonna finish up with the air bombs, which are kind of nice, I guess, but unless you're defending Lalo, they're not really gonna help out too much. And then the mini bombs, you can usually pair up the mini bombs with the giant bombs just to give them a little extra damage. So those are the orders for the defenses and the traps. Everything up here doesn't get a new level for Town Hall 9, obviously the Town Hall, but then the collectors and storages. However, we do have the Dark Elixir storage and then the Dark Elixir drills that go up to new levels. I think they go up a couple of levels, and I'm pretty sure you get a brand new Dark Elixir drill. So there's quite a bit of leveling to go on here. You can just do this whenever you want. It really doesn't matter at what point you want to stop and upgrade some Dark Elixir stuff. If you really want these boosts early from the drills, or you really want that extra storage early, you might need it for some of the hero upgrades, so that would be a good time to do it as well. Just kind of do it whenever. And then finally is going to be walls. The walls at Town Hall 9 go up 2 levels, which is crazy. The wall grind and the hero grind at Town Hall 9 is when it starts to get real, because you got all these levels of walls, and then you get 30 levels of king and queen, so it's a lot to get through. Like I said before, I would just do walls kind of slowly as you go. If you want to keep a builder set aside, like if you got the 6th builder and you want to set it aside just for walls, that's not a bad way to go about it. The only thing I would recommend you don't do is save the walls for dead last, because then you're going to be ready for Town Hall 10 and you still have all your walls to do. So that's why I suggest either do them all early or kind of work on them slowly as you upgrade everything else, because you don't want to be left with just walls to do, because then there's no point in staying at that Town Hall level. And then finally, one last note, I will have this progress base down in the description below if you guys want to copy it and use it. And I put these walls in groups of 5 at this level, because when I do level up my walls, I like to do them 5 at a time. I just find it's a lot easier, and it makes things go a bit quicker. So I try to do them 5 at a time, and that's why they're in groups like that. Well, taking a look at the hero equipment, this is going to come down to a few different things, which is going to be attack style and just mainly personal preference, because there's really no right or wrong way to go here. It really depends on just what you want to use. So looking at the Barbarian King, at this level, he's got the Rage Gem, the Barbarian Puppet, and the Earthquake Boots. He could also possibly have the Spiky Ball and the Giant Gauntlet if you unlock those through the event, or you buy them with gems in the trader shop. If you do have the Giant Gauntlet, the absolute best combo is going to be the Rage Vial with the Giant Gauntlet. That's going to make the King incredibly strong, but you could always throw in the Earthquake Boots with the Giant Gauntlet if you got some walls that you need to open up, or maybe even use the Spiky Ball with the Giant Gauntlet. If you happen to have both, it's also a really strong combination. But I would probably prioritize the Rage first, because this is the King's best piece of equipment at this level. It gives him a lot of boosts. It makes him faster, makes him hit harder, so it's nice to have. If you're going to do a lot of ground attacks, especially if you're going to do some witch attacks, it's definitely going to be worth it to take the Earthquake Boots. Or if you're doing a lot of air attacks like dragons or maybe even Lalo, where you don't really need the King to get more value inside the base, then you might be better off with the Barbarian Puppet. Although there are some instances where the Earthquake Boots are nice for air attacks as well. So that's why I say it just really depends on your attack style and how you'd like to attack. Now for the Archer Queen, at the moment, her other epic equipment is the Frozen Arrow. I believe she's got another epic equipment coming some down the line, which might be out by the time you're watching this video. But for right now, it's just the Frozen Arrow. If you guys happen to have that, that's a really good equipment to put on. And I would pair it up with the Invis Vial. The Invis Vial is going to be the best equipment for the Queen overall from what's on the screen. And if you don't have the Frozen Arrow, the other better option is going to be the Archer Puppet. It's just simple. The Queen pops her ability. If she's got the Invis Vial on, which she will, then she's going to go invisible, and then the archers are there to tank some of the damage and keep the Queen from going down. It also gives the Queen some health back. It gives the Queen some extra damage, so it's really nice. However, there is the Giant Arrow option, but this is more for like trick shots, more skilled stuff. So unless you're really going to be getting into some trick shots with your Giant Arrow, which you could do, use it to take down air defenses for dragon attacks, maybe get some earthquakes and lightning spells and take down some expos. Those are definitely some viable options. So if you want to do that, then maybe Giant Arrow is the way to go. Otherwise, I'd just stick with the good old Archer Puppet for now. All right, let's wrap this up with the laboratory before I share with you guys some war bases to use. So when you're deciding what troops to upgrade in the laboratory, I would suggest the first one would be your dragon, just like at Town Hall 8, and for the same reason. If you upgrade the dragon once, then you've immediately got a very strong Town Hall 9 army ready to go. You can use it for farming, you can use it for your war attacks. It's super solid and there's not a lot of moving parts to it, and it's really easy to use. So the dragon's probably your best bet for a starting troop. After that's when things start to change a little bit based on what you want to do. What you can do next, if you're going to be running the archer puppet and or the barbarian puppet, I recommend upgrading your archer and or barbarian, because the archer puppet and barbarian puppet, the troops that come out for your heroes, are dependent on what your troop levels actually are as far as your barbarian and archer go. Now, the other reason you might want to do archers and barbs after the dragon is if you want to farm with archers and barbarians instead of farming with dragons. You could even do archers and barbarians before the dragon if you really want to farm with these smaller troops. That might be a better option. You'll just have to wait a little bit longer before you're hitting a bit harder in wars. Then, of course, if you're not planning to use archers or barbs for farming, or the archer puppet or the barbarian puppet, then you could just save them for dead last, because they're not going to be helpful for you, and then you can just skip to the next part. So for the next troops that I would recommend, it really depends on what kind of attack strategies you want to learn and practice with. I would generally recommend going with the witches next. You can learn how to use witch slap, which is incredibly strong, so you would upgrade the witches, and then after that upgrade the golems. Another option here, if you don't want to do witches, or after you do the witches and golem, if you want to start learning queen charge, which I have a video, if you check out one of my previous videos, it's the guide on how to queen charge, which you can start doing in Town Hall 9 when your queen's about level 15. If you want to do that, I'd recommend upgrading the healers up to the max level. Now, in addition to the healers, you are going to want your baby dragon for funneling, and of course your wall breakers. Yet another option here for you, if you want to skip the witches and the queen charge, you can do Lalo, and you can also do Lalo with queen charge, but I'd recommend starting the queen charge portion first and then going to the Lalo army troops. But when you upgrade for Lalo, I'd recommend going with the balloon first and then the lava hound. And then finally, this army does take probably the longest to set up in terms of upgrades, but you can also do hog riders. And if you want to skip to the hog riders, that's perfectly fine. But you'd want to do the hog riders. Just keep in mind, after you do the hog riders, you're going to want to make sure you upgrade the golem if you haven't already. And then be sure to upgrade your wizards. This is going to be valuable for not only funneling, but that cleanup behind the hog riders as well, which is going to be incredibly important. Now, a couple of honorable mentions here. The Valkyrie could certainly be leveled up. There are some nice Valkyrie smash attacks that you could do. If that's something that you want to learn, you could do that early on as well. And then the same thing here with the P.E.K.K.A. You can always do a P.E.K.K.A. smash if that's something that interests you. That's going to be it for the upgrade priority guide. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, please do let me know down in the comments below, and I will be happy to answer them. Let's go ahead and take a look at some war bases before we wrap up the video. This is going to be war base number 1. This will be war base number 2. And this is going to be war base number 3. If you guys do run these, let me know down below how they do for you. They've been performing pretty well for me, so they should get you some nice defenses. That's it for my Town Hall 9 upgrade guide. We will be doing another Town Hall 9 video soon, going over different Town Hall 9 attack strategies. In the meantime, if you missed my how to queen charge guide, I recommend checking out that video right there.